Hey guys, quick video for you. We're going to put some finishing touches on this freshly LS-swapped Discovery 2. First off, it's the throttle bracket. This is the Rover throttle bracket, and that may or may not be holding on pretty well with one bolt. In my case, not well, because I stripped these threads a little bit. So I went ahead and made a new bracket. Anyone who's purchased a swap kit so far can get one of these at no charge, and it will be automatically included with any future swap kits. You start by undoing the two nuts that are holding the cable on the bracket with two 13mm wrenches. You get them in there, you crack them loose, and then you take the nut on the right and spin it all the way out until it goes over the gap, and then thread it on the other side of the gap. It'll be a little tricky because you have to restart the threads. Okay, thread it on the other side of the gap. Once you have enough room, then you can pop the wire out of the cable. Pop the cable out of this bracket, and do the same for the cruise control cable. Okay. Now, remove the old Rover bracket. Place the new bracket. Take your two bolts. These should have come with your intake. Alrighty. Now we're going to put the cable, slot both cables back in. So we'll do the throttle cable on the top and the cruise control on the bottom. Now, these two nuts are meant to adjust the tension on this, right? So you should adjust the tension. Put the throttle cable into the throttle body cam over here. Then you're going to adjust this back nut until this cable is under tension, but not so much tension that it starts to rotate the throttle body. Make sure the throttle body can fully shut, but the cable is under tension. Once you're at that stage, I was already there, so you adjust this nut. Once you're there, then you run the nut on the right all the way down over the gap. I'm actually going to remove the cruise control one. Do one at a time. Okay, so the bracket is now sandwiched between both of the nuts. Checking my tension. If I need more tension, then I untighten the nut on the right. And tighten the one on the left. Okay. Cool. And once I'm happy with it, snug them up so they don't move. There we go. Okay, now before we install and tension our cruise control cable, it would be nice to attach it to the cruise control post here, right? But how are we going to do that? Because the Rover didn't have a post like that, it just had a second cam wheel. How are we going to attach this to that? Well, the secret is you're going to get one of these doodads. This is a cruise control cable retainer for GM. Now we'll add this to the parts list. If you want to use cruise control, you're going to want this. How does this work? This hole here clips onto the cruise control post. You just push it in, and then through here you're supposed to put your cable. So it actually goes like this. You put your cable through this little hole, and on this side you need to like crimp something like a ferrule at the end of the cable to keep it from going back in. Now you might say, perfect. This already has a ferrule crimped on, right? But unfortunately, it's too big. If you separate the pieces, so basically the cable goes inside of this piece and into here, and then you screw this down to tension the cable. More tension or less tension. If what's funny is that we can tension the cable here as well. So now we'll have two ways of tensioning it, but that's okay. So the problem is this barrel at the end is too big to really fit in here. So I went ahead and cut it. And now we're gonna see, okay, where do we want to crimp our new thing? So let's take our cable retainer with the star shape facing the bracket, and let's push it in to the throttle tab post thing. Okay, it's in. So now let's route the cable like the way we want it to go. And let's insert it in there, and let's attach it to the bracket, at least somewhat. Okay, I'm not going to fully tighten it yet, but I've got it pretty much there. So I know, more or less, where I need to crimp something at the end here. So I don't have any fancy ferrules to crimp at the end of this wire. So I'm literally going to take a butt splice for a wire and crimp that at the end of it. Doesn't matter really what you're crimping. So I'm going to loosen this a bit. That way I can tighten it later to tension the wire. Trim this cable a little more. There we go. Now, pop this. Crimp that. Pop it back on. That is it. So I can start tensioning the wire with this thing here. And I can also tension it over here with these two nuts. And I will do that. Okay, once I'm happy with the tension, I'll go ahead and finally snug these up here. Cool. Okay, tension is good. Final step. I'm going to trim this by just cutting the other half of it that we're not using. There we go. Now we'll have a safer throttle pedal, and our cruise control should be working again just by doing this. Here's a close-up of our work. So you turn this to tighten the wire. There's our crimp. There's our bracket. All right, so throttle bracket's installed, throttle is in place, and you might think all's good, but you actually have another problem, is whenever you press your foot down and go full throttle, your throttle body is only opening about 70% of the way. So what is going on there? Well, you see the cam wheel on the rover throttle body is actually quite a bit smaller than the one on the LS, which means that it takes more throw of the pedal to go wide open throttle. We didn't need as much movement of the pedal to go wide open with the rover, but with the LS, with that bigger cam wheel, there's a bigger radius, and we need to pull more cable to get wide open throttle. So how do we fix that? It's this. This is the simplest solution I've come up with. This is actually a gas pedal extender. By moving the connection point of the cable up on the gas pedal, we are reducing our leverage on the cable, but we are increasing the pull distance of the cable. Let me show you what I mean. So here we are taking a look at the driver's side footwell. There's our gas pedal. And this is going to be very difficult to show. But let's see. Right there. That gray thing there, that's the attachment points for the throttle cable. Now, if we were to raise that, we would be able to pull that cable a little bit further. So that's all we need to do. So first, let's detach this thing. So the way to do that is, well, can't show you, but you just pull it and pop it out of the slot. It's pretty simple. Now I'm installing the gas pedal extender. There it is, loosely installed with the bolt goes through it and the nut is on the other side. And I'll be honest, it's pretty finicky getting that up there. Not a lot of room to work, but you get it eventually. And then you get two 10mm a wrench and a 10mm socket and tighten the nut there. Okay, got it done. I had to just reach with an extension, and I put a 10mm wrench in the back to hold the nut. Okay, but once your thing is installed, see if you still have full pedal movement. Sometimes there's a piece of foam above the little extender bracket that'll get in the way of the pedal. You can usually just push it up and it kind of stays. But if not, just trim it back a little. Trim that foam back and you won't have any issues. Okay, and the final step is you take that throttle cable and reattach it to the pedal, but this time you attach it onto the bracket up higher. It attaches in the same way. And there you go. And now we should have full range of motion of the throttle. Now, because we changed the mounting location of the throttle cable on the pedal, that actually changes the tension. We've added too much tension onto our wire, so we need to readjust the tension here. We actually should have done this in the opposite order. Install your gas pedal extender first, then take care of this. That would be smarter. So I'm going to go ahead and readjust that tension. Okay, there we go. The tension is reset and the throttle body now can close all the way. That's it, guys. There's really nothing else left to do. this thing drives great. I have a few more videos I want to make. I still want to make a video on programming the PCM. I know a lot of people like to run electric fans and maybe a radiator upgrade on their discos in general, not just LS swap discos, but in general. So I might make a video on upgrading over to electric fans. Other than that, can you let me know in the comments if there's something I missed or something you'd like to see me do in the video? So feel free to drop your suggestions down below, and I hope to keep this going for a little while longer. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.